Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Umuma, there lived a kind woman named Adama. She was known for her gentle heart and hard-working spirit. She was married to Obina, a respected palm wine tapper who provided for the family with his skill. Their home was filled with laughter, and to everyone in the village, they were the perfect couple. But Adama carried a secret, one she had never spoken about to anyone, not even to Obina. Since she was a child, she had struggled to hear. Though people in the village knew she had trouble with her ears, they did not know that she had a special device, a small hearing aid, given to her by a traveling merchant. She always hid it beneath her headscarf. Obina was a caring husband, always helping Adama when she could not hear well. He would tap on the table when calling her, wave his hands when speaking, and sometimes write things in the sand for her to read. Adama felt lucky to have such a patient and loving husband. But deep down, she was afraid. If Obina ever found out that she could sometimes hear clearly with the hearing aid, would he feel betrayed? Would he think she had been hiding things from him? One evening, after a long day at the farm, Obina returned home with a big smile. He greeted Adama warmly, and she smiled back, pretending not to have heard his footsteps. He sat beside her, talking about his day, and Adama nodded, careful not to let him know that she could hear every word clearly with her hidden device. But something changed that night. Obina's voice was different. It carried excitement, but also something else, something that made Adama uneasy. She quietly adjusted the volume on her hearing aid, making sure she caught every word. "She does not suspect anything," Obina whispered, though no one else was in the room. Adama's heart skipped a beat. Who was he talking about? He continued speaking softly to himself, thinking she could not hear him. "Tomorrow night, we will leave, and she will never know what happened. I will take everything and go far away. She trusts me too much." Adama froze. Her hands trembled. Was he talking about her? Was Obina planning to leave her? Her mind raced. What was he going to take? Where was he going? She watched him as he ate his food, smiling as if everything was normal. But to Adama, nothing was normal anymore. The man she had trusted, the man she had built a life with, was hiding something dangerous. But what was it? That night, as Obina snored peacefully beside her, Adama lay awake. She knew she had to find out the truth. The next day, she decided to follow him without his knowledge. As the sun began to set, she tied her wrapper tightly and placed her headscarf over her hearing aid. Quietly, she followed Obina as he made his way to the edge of the village. He stopped near the big Iroko tree, where two men stood waiting. "Everything is ready," one of the men said. "At midnight, we will take the cow, the money, and leave. No one will suspect you. Your wife will wake up and find you gone." Adama's heart pounded in her chest. Obina was not just planning to leave her, he was planning to steal from the village. The cow they spoke of belonged to the village chief, and the money must have come from the village savings kept in the chief's house. Adama bit her lip to stop herself from gasping. She could not believe what she was hearing. The husband she had loved and trusted all these years was a thief. And worse, he was planning to betray not just her, but the entire village. She knew she had to act fast. But how? If Obina and the men found out she knew their secret, they might harm her. She had to think carefully. Slowly, she stepped away from the shadows and ran back home as quietly as she could. When she reached the house, she grabbed a piece of charcoal and quickly wrote on the back of a calabash, "Thieves are coming at midnight. Save the village." She tiptoed outside and handed the calabash to a young boy playing near her compound. "Take this to the chief, quickly. Do not let anyone see you," she whispered. The boy, sensing the urgency in her voice, nodded and ran toward the chief's compound. Adama rushed back inside and sat on her mat, pretending to be asleep as she waited for midnight. She knew the moment of truth was coming, and everything depended on what would happen next. As the night deepened, the village grew silent, with only the distant hoots of an owl breaking the quiet. Adama sat up, her heart racing, waiting for any sign of movement. Then, just as the moon reached its highest point, she heard soft footsteps outside her hut. She held her breath, listening intently. The sound of hushed whispers reached her ears. "Is everything ready?" a voice asked. "Yes," Obina answered. "The chief's car is tied at the back of the shrine. The money is hidden under the old tree near the river. Once we get past the village gates, we will be free." Adanma clenched her fist. They were about to make their move. She had done all she could. Now, it was up to the chief and the village guards. Suddenly, loud voices and the sound of hurried footsteps filled the air. "Stop there! Thieves!" a deep voice shouted. Torches flared to life, illuminating the darkness as the village warriors emerged from their hiding places, surrounding Obina and his accomplices. Obina's eyes widened in shock. He turned sharply to run, but there was nowhere to go. The guards grabbed him and the other men before they could escape. The villagers, awakened by the commotion, rushed out of their huts, murmuring in confusion. "What is happening?" one elder asked, stepping forward. The village chief emerged from the crowd, his eyes blazing with anger. He held up the calabash Adama had sent earlier. "Thanks to Adama's bravery, we caught these thieves before they could ruin our village." The villagers gasped, turning to look at Adama, who stood at the doorway of her hut, tears in her eyes. Obina met her gaze, his face full of shock and betrayal. But Adama did not flinch. She knew the truth now. The man she had loved was not the man she thought he was. The chief nodded to the guards. "Take them away. Justice will be served." As the guards dragged Obina and his men toward the village square, Adama felt a weight lift from her shoulders. But she also knew this was only the beginning of a new chapter in her life. She watched as the villagers murmured among themselves, some casting sympathetic glances her way, others shaking their heads in disappointment at Obina. But Adama knew she had to remain strong. The night's events had changed everything, and what lay ahead was uncertain. Moral lessons. 1. Truth and wisdom prevail over deceit. Proverbs 12 verse 19. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. 2. Evil deeds will always be exposed. Luke 8 verse 17. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light.